Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your support. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, you can go over to patreon.com and choose a monthly subscription. Over there, all subscriptions receive the daily forecast a day early. Also, there's other readings that are available only over there monthly that you can receive depending on the level of subscription service that you choose. So if you have any questions about that or a private reading, feel free to message me at my business page on Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to go over and follow my business page so that you're notified when I go live, or subscribe here and hit the thumbs up button. And then also, if you hit the notifications bell, it will let you know when I do live events and stuff for card pulls and things like that. I also am available for private readings. If you're interested in that, you can again message me at the Facebook business page. So today is the daily forecast for the 12th of November. It is a timeless message in the sense that it is to be used whenever you see it. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the 12th. You might be more in alignment on a different date and it may cross your path. So, with an open mind, reflect upon whatever is shared here. And if it applies to your life, feel free to utilize it in the best of your ability. If it doesn't apply for any reason, that's completely fine. Doesn't mean anything's wrong. It just might be that you're working on something different at this time. So don't worry about that. It's kind of like a take what you need and leave the rest sort of situation, right? So these readings are here to help enhance what you already know for yourself, and always trust your own intuition over, things that I may say, kind of thing. Use this as a maybe a source of support for what you may already know, kind of thing. And I was going to say, if you do make any personal decisions in your life after having watched this video, due to having watched this video, those decisions are your responsibility. So remember that. And that's half the fun, right? Is that we want to take responsibility and do, make the choices and learn the lessons, kind of thing. That's sort of why we came here, right? Ideally. Okay, so let's see, what is the energy? What do we need to know for Thursday, November 12th? Or for those who are watching this video at any given time? What do we need to know? Okay, so we have the Five of Swords. Interesting, this cat is throwing daggers at that dog. Five of Swords can sometimes be about sort of, I would say, kind of friendly competition. I don't even know. This card doesn't necessarily feel fully friendly to me. It actually feels a little bit defensive. I don't know if some of you are feeling that right now. Maybe you're feeling judged, ridiculed, or that you need to measure up to something. I also feel like these daggers are all pointed at that dog, and it's sort of weird. Like, to me, it feels a bit aggressive. Five of Swords can be like rivalry, competition, certainly. It could be office politics in some ways. It's just sort of like the energy is a little bit, like piercing. It's funny how MJ does this. We have the dog here and his ball is here and the cat's kind of got the ball over here with the sword crossing it and all of these swords. It's like, if you want this, you're gonna maybe have to work for it, and that might be the competition. There's also this rose here, which to me, roses always symbolize, not only spiritual, they're very much spiritual symbols, like when Mother Mary is pictured with roses all around her. But to me, roses are a sense of like sort of beauty, frailty, but also coupled with that ability to sort of protect themselves, right? Because they have those thorns. So even though they're these beautiful sort of fragile flowers, they're still strong, and they know exactly what they need to do and how to grow in a way to sort of keep their space, if that makes sense. So when I look at this, it makes me think like, either where are we limited in our world by maybe others, their opinions of us, or their interactions with us? Where do we let that get the best of us? Where do we let that sort of maybe pin us or stop us from getting where we want to be? The other question here that comes up is like, where do we engage in situations that aren't necessarily to the best, what's the word? Not to the best, but like where they display our best qualities, right? Are there areas where we maybe get triggered or, where our buttons get pushed in a way that we feel either pinned down, unable to achieve something, frustrated, those sort of things, right? I sort of feel like that's kind of the energy of this card. It's like he wants that ball, but engaging with this could be sort of maybe not the best scenario for him. Does that make sense? Even though this is the cat deck. For some of you that are resonating more with the cat side of things, are you guys judging and in competition with somebody else? Is there somebody else that's got under your skin too? There's that aspect too. Like the cat could be sitting there with those daggers pointed at the dog like, how dare you do this to me, sort of thing. So if we're associating ourselves more with the cat versus the dog to me feels a little bit more helpless, right? He feels a little bit more pinned down and he can't get to what he wants. The cat sort of has what she wants, which is that ball, but does she really need it? And is it really serving her, sort of is the question. Or is she just projecting her thoughts, her judgments, her rivalry out at the dog? Does that make sense? And so, is that really needed? Is it really serving the cat, kind of thing, right? So when I think about this, it makes me think about where are we out of tune, out of touch, in competition, in resistance, in our lives, right? Where do we find ourselves? I don't know that this is struggling, but maybe creating struggles that we don't even know are struggles. We just are so used to this pattern. Does that make sense? This card is not like, to me, it's not our best behavior. Let's just say that. If we're the one being judgmental, or if we're getting caught in somebody else's rivalry with us, their competition energy with us, and we're engaging in it, whether we're being passive and being like, oh, poor me, I can't achieve this, or we're engaging in it like we're judging right back and fighting right back, is this really the best way for us to be? Is kind of the question that I get. And when I think about what's underneath, because we're now at the midweek, we had the Fool yesterday, which is the beginning of a journey, and then we also have that King of Swords energy underneath all of this, which is also that air, intellect, mental realm, right? Which is the Five of Swords too. But the King, right, he's decisive, he's clear, he's logical, he's practical, right? He's in control. He's actually swords upon swords, right? Because kings represent swords on top of him being the King of Swords. So we have this opportunity, I think, with that Fool, the openness of yesterday's Fool card and today's, Five of Swords. To me, it almost feels like the cards are kind of trying to tell us, all right, so if we want to start this new journey, i.e. the Fool, right? If we want to be open and move towards something new, where is it that we limit ourselves? And so that's why we have this Five of Swords today, is because it's asking us to take that King of Swords, logical, practical, decisive nature that's underneath all of this and figure out where do we misplace that, or where do we get caught up in trivial things that don't necessarily serve us, and I'm talking more in a mental capacity, right? Where do we engage in things that get in our way? Okay, so let's see what the Empath Oracle has to say. And for some of you, this could just be, just a day of being, noticing what bothers you in a way, right? Doesn't mean that this card is set in stone or that it's going to be an awful day. I just think this is an opportunity to look at wherever we're engaging in a way that's not really in our best interest. It's certainly mentally, like if our thoughts are going somewhere more dire than they need to, okay? This is Chameleon. We've seen this card actually just recently, did we not? We just saw it on the 10th, 2 days ago. All right, so Chameleon, number 5, which is change. And again, the story of the chameleon, or what I sort of see in this chameleon card, is this ability to adapt and to change to our situation, right? To allow our situation to sort of bring about our innate ability to kind of move into acceptance or assistance with the situation versus resistance. And this Five of Swords to me is more about resistance energy. Whether we're being resisted by something or someone in our life, or we are resisting someone or something in our life, a situation as it is, whatever we're doing, it's creating this sort of rift that we see in this Five of Swords. Now, there is opportunity here because that rose really draws my attention. I feel like there is a possibility for growth and to remain like sort of strong and protected in our space without having to engage. The chameleon speaks to this idea of being maybe slightly more passive, adapting to the situation even if it's not the way that we want it or like it, or the person, you know, maybe somebody's at work is giving us trouble for some of you. Instead of, you know, resisting them or fighting against them or, you know, sort of sending them back more, you know, kind of negativity or this rivalry that we see in the Five of Swords, why don't we sort of shift our perspective or shift our colors in a way? And again, I will say this, the chameleon has an opportunity to sort of blend in, to change and to make things more peaceful. And so I think that kind of these cards are a reminder that wherever we're feeling distrust or frustration, now's the time to sort of shift that feeling or become aware of it, get sort of comfortable with it, and then start to begin to adjust ourselves, because that's really all we have control over, right? But if we're giving our power over to something that is not sitting well with us, then we're doing exactly that. We're giving over our power through our attention or, you know, our frustration. We're sort of renting space in our head or our heart to whatever this is that we don't really want to be dealing with to begin with. So to me, the chameleon isn't necessarily about like shriveling up or bowing down or, you know, backing, but it is maybe about relaxing a little bit, blending in, becoming a little bit more, and I don't mean blending in by disappearing. What I mean is blending in and becoming more, seeking for spaces of acceptance around something versus resistance. And so that's the change that I feel that needs to take place for us today if we are feeling that we're being, you know, judged, competed with, challenged in some way. Let's see what the grounding stone is going to do today. Okay, so today is create. I feel like this create stone takes us back to yesterday's Fool, and it also is drawing me more towards the energy of the underpinning card of this reading, which is that King of Swords from earlier in the week, right? That should be around us, in the background, in our subconscious, right? Where we create from that clarity, we create from that ability to understand what it is we want, to be practical, to be, you know, sort of methodical, maybe even in our steps about how we go about it. We need to be honest with ourselves with this Five of Swords, right? Are we doing something, or is somebody doing something around us or to us? We feel as though it's to us that is causing us sort of, you know, discomfort or whatever the reaction is, right? Where is it that we limit ourselves? We want to change that. We want to adjust our colors, our skin, our connection to the situation, the person, the environment that might be giving us trouble. As we do that, we begin to also, not only do we affect that change, but we also begin to create something new. And that newness is also what we see in yesterday's Fool card, right? Where it's like, okay, where are we heading, and what energy are we working with, or what focuses are we keeping that might be hindering that creation, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? People live with doubt, anxiety, fear, frustration. That's all part of the human experience, right? The thing is are we able to still continue to be productive, still continue to adapt, change, grow, and move forward in this idea or this sense of creation towards whatever it is that we still desire? I believe we can, right? Some days are easier than others. Not, you know, it's not always perfect. But I think that that rose really is drawing my attention because it's sitting there on that platter. To me, it speaks to this idea that it's there for us if we want it, but we might have to let down our guard or our, like I said, I keep seeing this word resistance. These swords here are very much you know, either the cat is resisting the dog is resisting the cat. There's no room for movement here in the way that it exists. So chameleon says, all right, so let's adjust who we are, how we behave, or because that's, again, like I said, the only thing we have control over. We don't have to lose who we are in this. We don't have to give up who we are or what we believe in, but we, you know, maybe adjust it in a way that allows us to move forward in this energy of the magic of creation and what we're trying to get, and that we're all, I will say this, we're all entitled to our opportunities for that, right? So let's read the Five of Swords. I hope that makes sense, guys. Let's see, Five of Swords. And remember, underneath all of this, you know, if any of you are sort of like, oh, I don't want this card today, the Five of Swords shows us where we might be engaging in ways that aren't serving us. And I think that that's a good thing. And the King of Swords underneath is this deeper awareness that we may have that we want to act from or bring into this situation, because he's going to help to assist us to find out where we need to adjust. All right, so that's the cat's name is Miles. The symbolism is the dog bed taking over. Oh, the cat's in a dog's bed. I didn't get that. Okay, I thought he was on a couch. A dog bed taking over, being selfish, inserting yourself, looking out for your interest only. The rose is passionate about your own beliefs. The dog is the victim of blatant hostility, feeling under attack, not fighting back or defending yourself. Open window is the opportunity for escape. So that's kind of cool too. I was looking at the open window, but I didn't really think that that's what that was about. But my question is where do we associate ourselves with this card? Are we more the cat, where we're taking over and being selfish, only seeing our needs and that's limiting us? Or are we the dog, where we're being like, oh, I can't get this done because my boss won't let me, or because my boyfriend won't treat me a certain way. I'm miserable, right? But we're kind of missing sort of the point, I feel like. No pun intended with the swords, the point, get it? But I'm bummed. All right. Message: to show the dog who is the true alpha of the house, the cat parked itself in the middle of the dog bed. The poor pup couldn't even get close to it, get its ball back. The Five of Swords creates trouble. It's an energy that flourishes during tense situations. Whether it is a boss that pits two coworkers against each other for sheer pleasure of watching events play out, or the friend who makes it their mission to steal your latest love interest. When you see the Five of Swords, someone is using their power as a weapon or playing to win, and doing so in a way that is more often than not dishonorable. The aggressor may try to rationalize their position by saying that they are only looking out for their own best interests. Someone is going to end up on the top, right? The Five of Swords asks you to examine your values. Would you do anything to ensure that you are on the winning side, even if that entails compromising your integrity? Although there are times we need to put ourselves first, you will know when the Five of Swords is near, as victory will, it says hollow, but it's supposed to say follow. MJ, if you're watching this, there's a misprint in your book right there. All right, so energy attributes: positive is standing up for your own interests. Negative is becoming a despot or bully, preys on weakness. So I kind of think if you are being in the negative aspect, which would be more the cat, where you're kind of pinning somebody or something to maybe rules or ways. I don't know. Like, I'm just looking at this cat and thinking this could be some of us being frustrated with somebody because we were treated poorly by them. Like, you know, where this would come up is bringing up the past, right? You did this to me and that's why I'm this way. And if that's a dialogue that we're having, right? This chameleon says, okay, it's time to change that. It's time to adjust our spots. It's a time to adjust our skin and readapt and create something new, something different. Okay? For those of you that are pinned like the dog, where you feel helpless, or you're like, oh, I can't achieve this because my boss treats me this way, or because my mom, treats me this way, or talks to me this way. It's time to go out that window and escape. Let that go too. And that's the change in chameleon. And we can create something new. So what do we want to create would be the grounding stone, or we want to focus on. And using that, intelligence of the King of Swords underneath all of it, we will make those decisions and be clear in that. All right, so the number 50 is chameleon. So the world is a place of beauty and wonder, each individual unique as they add their experience to the tapestry of color. People who are empathic often feel within themselves that they do not fit anywhere. Family, friends, and that would be also Five of Swords energy too. Family, friends can all seem foreign to an empath as the outward experience doesn't match up to what the empath is feeling inwardly. This confusion in the need to belong can drive the empath to wonder if their personal behaviors or beliefs are wrong. So begins the experience of becoming the chameleon, emulating behaviors and mannerisms just to fit in. Many empaths become very skilled at this behavior. It can be a positive experience as you learn what works and what doesn't in social settings. The problem begins when you lose yourself in the perceived need to be other than who you really are. You can begin to align with beliefs and behaviors that are negative. That also is Five of Swords energy. This soon blurs the boundaries of what and who am I. If you are not mindful and present, which would be that King of Swords energy, you will soon find yourself struggling to discover who and what you are. Am I blending into my surroundings to create a feeling of safety? Am I losing my individual beauty in the tapestry? Why am I having a hard time holding on to my true, authentic self? And I think some of that might be through frustration, through fear, through anger, through old, stuff that we carry within this Five of Swords, right? And we need to figure out where on the spectrum of this card are we playing out either one of these roles, the cat or the dog, or maybe in different situations, in different scenarios, we're playing both roles. And this might be something that we want to look at today and change so that we can move forward and create something different, more vibrant, and more beautiful. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. I think that sounds like a good reading today. So that is your reading for the day, you guys. I hope that you guys have a beautiful day. It should be fine. Remember, this Five of Swords helps us root out situations where we don't necessarily, either we're not acting our best or those around us aren't acting their best. And then we get to choose how we engage with those situations moving forward. And that's a place of empowerment, right? All right, so this is your forecast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed it. And subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys tomorrow, and we'll see where this all goes. All right, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys. Bye.